may be down, but you're not out. Don't give up and don't give in. Although it seems you never win, you will always pass the test as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win, yes, as long as you keep your head to the sky. You can win, yes, as long as you keep your head to the sky. Be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. Gotta be optimistic. May our hearts be open. 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 May our hearts be open.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to today's Open Heart Spiritual Center service. I want to thank you for joining us today. Today, I'm going to start out this morning with 3 chimes, and with each chime, we're going to ohm throughout the chime, allowing yourself to just go deeper and to breathe through. We're going to breathe in and breathe out. So we're going to breathe in. And now, as we are present right here and right now in this moment, I just give thanks. I am so grateful for this day. I'm grateful to be alive in this day and to be alive in this moment, in each and every single moment. And say with me, yes, and aha, and amen, and yes. Breathing in and breathing out. Waking up this morning and just being grateful. Grateful for all that I have and all that's going on in, through, and around me, and knowing that the source within me is that same divine sweetness that's connected to each and every single one of us. And when I say brother and sister, I truly mean that we are truly brother and sister. Whether we agree with one another or any of those types of things, that we know that the eyes that are looking at you right now, and the eyes, although I can't see you, are looking back at me, I know that we are from the same source, and the same source has its beingness within each and every single one of us. And so I'm grateful today for all that have a part in this service, this special service today, because each and every single moment is special. Celebrate each and every single moment. And so celebrating each moment today, I'm grateful for the music, for the affirmative reading, and for the message, and allow ourselves to just open up and to receive and celebrate this time here and now. And I release this right here and right now. I release it knowing that His is already so wonderful, so good, and so it is.
God is alive. God is love. God is real. God is magnificent. God is light. God is love. You are real. You are magnificent. You are light. You are love. You are real. You are magnificent. You are light. You are love. I am real. I am magnificent. I am light. I am love. I am real. I am magnificent. I am light. I am love. We are real. We are magnificent. We are light. We are love. We are real. We are magnificent. We are light. We are love. God is real. God is magnificent. God is light. God is love. God is real. God is magnificent. God is light. God is love.
What comes from the heart reaches the heart. Good morning and welcome to our Heartstream for this Sunday, February the 16th. I'm glad you joined us for this morning's Heartstream. It's always great for this opportunity. Thank you again. Just had a great week and so many things happening with regard to just life itself. Know there are a lot of things to be concerned about, and I continue to hold the space and continue to talk to others as we are connecting with one another to build our spiritual network of people who are doing the spiritual work, doing the affirmative prayer, doing the affirmations, doing all the things that, more importantly, envisioning and seeing despite appearances, despite what might be happening, not bypassing, not ignoring, but knowing that what we give our attention and our energy to, those kinds of things we will see manifest in our lives. So, and it's not easy. I truly admit that. But again, I thank you for your encouragement, and I also hope to encourage you as well. Today, another exciting day, both with our Heartstream here with the message that we have when the tables turn, when the table turns. I also invite you, those of you that are in Memphis, to Unity Christian Church in McCorkle Road, 3345 McCorkle Road in Whitehaven, to join us at 11 for the celebration service there. It's a great opportunity. There are things that are happening. I talked about this synchronistic process, partnership that we have. And there's some great things that are happening. We already have one of the people from UCCM, so part of our prayer team and our daily prayer call. And today there'll be some training for platform assistants at Unity, which will include some individuals from Open Heart. So we have these things that are going on. We have, as I mentioned, this process of these two powerful and wonderful communities coming together in ways that I just see the future holding for us some important opportunities and holding for us some just profound experiences. So if you have an opportunity to come out, I invite you to do so. Thank you also for your contributions, your support for this Heartstream, for Open Heart, and the ways in which you do that. Continue to do so. Continue to let people know about this Heartstream so that they can also tune in and get this message. More than ever, this message is needed in our world today. And as always, I greet you, I bless you, I see God in you.
Our affirmation for the month of February: divine strength. Divine strength is my spiritual name and nature. I am centered in truth during times of instability. I appreciate my limitless power to stay strong in all circumstances. I am spiritual strength, stable, courageous, and tenacious. Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
Today is a day like no other day. Just think and you'll know that it's true. Days like today should be holidays. So I'm singing this message to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just have a happy day.
There are several ways to give to Open Heart: through our Cash App at OHSC901, online at OHSC901.com, or text the word GIVE to 615-422-4290.
A powerful way to start or continue your day is with our daily prayer call. Each morning, at 8 a.m. Central Time, a prayer team member provides an inspirational reading and an affirmative prayer. Join us at 901-586-8755.
Join us at 11 a.m. for the Sunday celebration at Unity Christian Church. We'd love to have you come out, 3345 McCorkle Road. And if you're not able to be here in person, you can also watch the service at unitychristianchurch.us, the website. Love to see you. This collaboration between these two magnificent congregations. Black history is a part of history year-round. But traditionally in the month of February, we highlight the accomplishments of Black Americans and beyond. And courtesy of the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas, we are featuring the pioneers and evolutionaries of science of mind. Hope you enjoy.
Here's a little-known Black history science of mind fact. Some of you might know that Founders Church of Religious Science opened in Los Angeles in 1960. But do you know it was designed by a Black man? Ernest Holmes asked Paul Revere Williams, the first African-American admitted to the American Institute of Architects, to sketch an idea for the building in 1957. Williams produced a sketch of an elliptical circle, and Holmes liked what he saw. To Holmes, the sketch was the perfect symbol for wholeness, unity, the unending and all-inclusive power of love. Williams designed many landmark buildings in Los Angeles, including the iconic LAX Airport Terminal. He was later named a Fellow by the American Institute of Architects, a high honor for his outstanding achievements. Another Science of Mind Black History fact also involves Los Angeles and a famous singer.
This God didn't make little green apples, and it don't rain in Indianapolis in the summertime.
You might recognize this song and this deep, sultry singing
There's no
voice.
such thing as Dr. Seuss, no Disneyland. Mother Goose is no nursery rhyme.
1969's best song, Grammy Award winner for Little Green Apples, celebrated vocalist O.C. Smith.
And when myself is feeling low, I think about a face aglow and ease my mind.
The talented Smith experienced several career highs that only the best musical dreams are made of. But even though Little Green Apples hit number 2 on the Billboard charts and sold more than 1 million records, the former vocalist for phenomenal band leader Count Basie knew deep down there was something more. Smith told an interviewer, "After the music success I had, I was still searching for something and didn't know what it was. I kept looking outside of myself, not realizing the reaching is in the soul, not outside." His life gained new purpose in 1980 when he and his wife Robbie Golson discovered Science of Mind. Introduced by Dr. Joseph Murphy of Laguna Beach, Smith finally heard what he had believed for so long: God as a metaphysical entity, one with all, belonging in each of us, and uniting us if we wish to see the Almighty. Inspired by the powerful spiritual principles he internalized, Smith even started explaining the metaphysical meanings of songs during his concerts. Profoundly struck by Science of Mind, Smith gave up his music career to study divinity, and in 1985, Dr. O.C. Smith became pastor of the City of Angels Science of Mind Center in Los Angeles.
We must recognize beauty right where we are. That's why Dr. Ernest Holmes said, "There is not a spot where God is not."
He gained a reputation for mixing jazz with storytelling and for being a loving force of financial support to single-parent households, low-income families, and foster children. The church's City of Angels Foundation also provided dozens of scholarships to help students attend colleges across the nation. Dr. O.C. Smith and Paul Revere Williams, Black evolutionaries in Science of Mind.
Who I wanna be, I am. What I see.
and joy, satisfaction, pleasure and strength. Welcome, essence, beauty, presence, spirit, form and space. Welcome, excellence in every blessing, sacred and praise.
What I seek, I am. What I wanna know, I understand. All I wish I could, I can. What I wanna be, I am. What I seek, I am. What I wanna know, I understand. All I wish I could, I can. Who I wanna be, I am.
I am the seed, I am the tree, I am the flower, I am the bee. I am fire, I am wind. I accept love and also I give. I am loud and I am mighty. I am silent, I tread lightly. I am brave and monumental. I am modest and I am gentle. I am student and I teach. I am the sand and I am the beach. I am peace and I am power. I am bridge and I am tower. I am peace and I am wild. I am mother, I am child. I am baby, I am you. I am God and God is you.
What I seek, I am. What I wanna know, I understand. All I wish I could, I can. Who I wanna be, I am. What I seek, I am. What I wanna know, I understand. All I wish I could, I can. Who I wanna be, I am.
To be.
When the table turns. Have you ever had a situation where someone just had it in for you, were just determined to make your life miserable, and if they could, they would really wipe it out? So what do? How do you deal with it? Well, I think that in this month, our examination and our exploration of spiritual strength, our theme, divine strength for the month, I think there's some things and some answers for us, some ways we can address and we can deal with this. We know that spiritual strength is our capacity to remain stable, courageous, and committed, even when circumstances shift. And when we trust in divine strength, we can stand firm, move forward in faith, and persist through challenges. And I can't think of a better way to illustrate this than to talk about the story of Esther, Queen Esther, as she is also known as. You see, Esther was adopted and raised by her uncle Mordecai after her parents died. They both were Jews living under Persian rule. And Esther caught the king's eye, the king of Persia's eye. She caught his eye. It describes her as being beautiful and comely, and he just was overcome by her beauty and decided to marry her. Mordecai advised her not to reveal her Jewish heritage at the time. So now we have the queen, the king, and Mordecai. Mordecai works at the gate and overhears a plot against the king, and he passes the word on to Esther, who tells the king, and the king thwarts the plot. And enter Haman. Now we've got Esther, the king, Mordecai, and Haman. Haman was a top official, and people were to bow to him because of his position. But Mordecai refused. He refused to because he believed that the only person that he should pay that amount of respect to was God. And this infuriated Haman. Haman learned that Mordecai was a Jew, and he decided to do away with him. But not only with him, but with all of his people. And so he got the king to issue an executive order. To issue a decree to annihilate all of them. And when Mordecai and the people found out, they went into mourning. And he passes the word on to Esther. And he tells her what's about to happen. And he asks her, since you're married to the king, can you please appeal to him on the people's behalf? Esther was reluctant to do so because it required her to go into the king's presence. And she could only do so when summoned, because there was a rule in that day, in that society, that only if a king summoned a person could they come into his presence. Otherwise, they would be put to death. And Mordecai tells her that one way or another, you're going to die. So you might as well. So Esther says this, so I will go unto the king, and if I perish, I perish. You see, when we are determined to follow our higher leading, as Esther was, we are willing to let the results be what they may. So Esther passes the word on to the Jews to fast for 3 days. And she also passes fast for 3 days. And this is when we talk about fasting in this sense again, as we talk about that fasting is about denial in this way, or releasing those things that don't serve us. In this case, to deny all personal considerations. And then Esther dresses up and she stands where the king can see her. And he invites her to come into his presence. As a matter of fact, he even extends his golden scepter to her, which she touches, which was really significant, really meant something at that time. And he says to her that whatever you want, I will grant it to you, even if it's half of my entire kingdom. But Esther doesn't tell him at the moment what she wanted. But she took the opportunity to invite the king and Haman to a banquet. And at the meal, the king again asks her if she has a request and says to her, again, whatever you want, all the way up to the half of my kingdom, I will give you. And Esther asked for their presence the next night for another banquet. Haman didn't know what Esther's background was, doesn't know that she was a Jew. But he was pleased to be honored with not just one banquet, with just he and the queen and the king, but a second one. And on the way home, he was happy. He was just filled with a sense of importance, filled with a sense of joy. And as he was walking, though, he saw Mordecai at the king's gate. And again, Mordecai didn't rise in his presence. He didn't bow or anything. And that made Haman angry. He was filled with rage against Mordecai. And when he got home, he instructed some people to build a 75-foot high gallows upon which he intended to hang Mordecai. That particular night, the king couldn't sleep. So he asked that his chronicles be read to him, his past accomplishments and achievements. And in the midst of that, he realized that he had never thanked Mordecai properly. So he decides that he would do something for Mordecai. The next morning, Haman goes to the king, intending to ask him for permission to hang Mordecai. But before he could do so, the king begins questioning Haman and says to him, if there was a person that the king wanted to honor, what kinds of things would you do for him? Haman thinking that the king was talking about him, because surely there is no one else in the entire kingdom that deserves to be honored and that the king would think more of than me. So he says to him, well, what I think you should do is to give him a robe that you've worn, to allow him to wear your crown, and to put him on a horse and lead him around the town. And Haman could just really see himself doing that. And the king said, you're right. That's a great idea. What I want you to do is go and get Mordecai, put the robe on him, put the crown on him, put him on the horse, lead him around the city, and declare to people this is a person that the king is honoring. Of course, Haman was humiliated at that point because he thought it was him that the king was talking about. But even despite his humiliation, and after he had gone back and told his family, and they told him, you must be careful because Mordecai could be your undoing, Haman was undaunted by that. He decided to continue the next night to go to the banquet. And at the banquet, Esther tells the king of the plot against her and her people. She finally revealed to him that she was a part of the Jewish people. And she said, but there was someone who had been directing things so that they would all be annihilated. In fact, Haman had paid money to make sure that would happen. They would all be annihilated and their goods and things would be taken over by other people. And the king was outraged. Who in the world would think of doing something like that, particularly doing something the people of you, my beloved? And she turned and she pointed to Haman. Haman is the one. And the king became furious. And as he did so, he had to walk out and to gather up his thoughts. And as he did so, Haman became very, very frightened. And while the king was out and Esther goes and reclines on the couch, Haman comes over to her. And as he does, he's begging and pleading. And he leans over on the same couch where she is. And in that moment, the king walks back in. And the king says, how dare he? How dare he? Not only is he wanting to do this to my queen's people, but he tries to put himself upon her while I'm out of the room. That is it. And ultimately what happens is that the gallows that Haman had built to hang Mordecai, Haman was hung on those very same gallows. And after that, Queen Esther ordered that Haman's people and his possessions and all of that, he put Mordecai over the house of Haman. And I know, that was a lot, but I wanted to give us the background because I think that there's some things that are important to talk about, because here's where Esther teaches us about using spiritual or divine strength. Strength is one of the 12 powers of unity, manifesting as stability, courage, and perseverance. The first thing that I think when we look at the idea of stability or standing firm in the midst of change, that life is full of transitions. We know that change happens all the time. The one constant thing in life is change. But spiritual strength allows us to remain anchored in the divine truth. Esther remained stable and unwavering in her faith, despite the appearances, despite what was happening, because she chose to trust divine wisdom rather than fear. So how do you do it? Irvin Seal, in his book, Take Off From Within, writes about, and he promotes this idea of letting your mind lie still. And I maintain that that's what Esther did. She allowed her mind to remain still. And he goes on to illustrate that one time on a boat, as the ship got rough and the sea got choppy and things were happening, and there was a woman, he called her Mrs. Smith, who looked really, really uncomfortable. And someone walked up to Mrs. Smith and said to her, you are looking ill. And it was just a suggestion that he made. But as soon as he made that, she leaned over the rail and all of the contents of her stomach went into the sea. Couple of moments later, someone walks over to a crusty old sailor and said the same thing to him. And he looked back and forth, looking on the deck, looking in the water, looking at the winds, looking around. And he laughed because he was able to allow his mind to lie still. He was able to not allow external conditions to control or influence his internal mindset, his mind to lie still. And so often we get caught up and allow external conditions to influence us. We have to learn how not to be controlled by external conditions. Then no matter what happens on the outside, becoming aware or conscious, that place inside of us that remains still, that place where the flame will not flicker. Joe Dispenza, in his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, said we can either be living a life that is one of cause and effect, meaning things that happen on the outside influence us. So if there's a gloomy looking day, that'll cause us to feel gloomy. If we find ourselves getting caught up in conversations about how bad things are and how bad things are in the world with the economy and everything else, and I know I'm not ignoring those things, but if we get so caught up in that and allow ourselves to go down the rabbit hole, and that becomes our focus, that becomes the main source of our conversation, all of that, then it will cause us to be fearful, or cause us to be discouraged, or cause us to be frightened, or cause us to be disoriented or whatever else. But not allowing external conditions to influence us, cause and effect, but we get to the place where we learn how to cause effects. The second thing that I think is important with regard to this story and the lessons that we can gather from it and use and apply in our lives is courage. Courage is acting in faith, not fear. It's the willingness to act even when fear is present. Because Esther knew she could be put to death for going into the king's presence without being summoned, but she decided to do it anyway. In fact, she said, if I perish, I perish. She gathered the courage. She knew, she had the internal fortitude, if you will. She had the idea of knowing that I'm going to go into this situation. It may not turn out the best for me, but I'm acting in faith and I'm trusting the process. I'm trusting in the divine that all will work out. And as we can see that it did. The last thing that I think is important is tenacity, staying the course with faith and endurance. Tenacity provides us with staying power, not to give up no matter what it looks like, but to stay the course and to stay in the race, if you will, to stay in the fight, to stay in the process as things are happening and unfolding for us. And sometimes it might be, in order to remain and persevere, is the small steps that we take in life. Even when things appear not to be happening, because after all, they're just small steps. And so often we are used to looking for the large steps and the big things, but the small steps. Wemi Opokunle reminds us that a Boeing 747 has a cruising speed from 450 to 600 miles an hour. But when you're sitting on a plane, you never know that. You would never know that, because the plane, for the most part, unless you're in turbulence, is a smooth ride. You can look out the window, but don't really have a real sense of how fast you are moving. But if you were to be on the ground and travel at that same speed, your mind wouldn't be able to comprehend what it would be like to move at that speed. And yet that is kind of how things happen for us. Very often the small steps that we take, we may not notice that there's something happening underground, because a lot of the change that happens in our lives, a lot of the transformation, it comes from the small steps that we take. But it's the little things in life that we do. And as we do them, do the thing, and you shall have the power. Because you see, it's easy to do, or not to do. And at first, the results might be invisible. They might seem invisible. It might seem small. But as we do so, as we continue to take those small steps, as we continue to do the things that are a part of our recognizing and realizing that as we have stability, as we have and embody courage, as we take the idea to persevere and our tenacity being in place, that what might seem insignificant right now, what doesn't matter, it ultimately does matter, because what you do today matters. What you do every day matters. That as we put these principles into practice and we pull all of these things together, as we recognize and we realize and we understand about the stability, seeing ourselves staying focused, allowing our minds to lie still, as we see and garner up the courage that is there, acting despite fear, knowing that as we rely upon the faith and we rely upon that place in us where the flame will not flicker, as we continue to have the tenacity and the wherewithal to persevere and to continue to move forward despite appearance, despite how little in the beginning it might seem that we are progressing, but knowing that when we are at a spiritually elevated level, just like with the plane moving 550 to 600 miles an hour, our spiritual elevation, things begin moving, things begin happening, even when we don't quite notice them. But when we recognize this and realize this, that just as what happened in the story that we have about Esther and about Mordecai and the king and Haman, tables do turn. And in this case, the tables turned, and we saw things happen, Esther and her people coming out victorious. And I believe that you and I, that as we continue to apply these principles in our lives, the same thing happens.
I am a child of this universe. The ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I am loved at every turn. I am kissed by Mother. I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars have a light for me in the sky. I am honored by all life. I am held by Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on the tree, every mountain top sings of the glory of God moving through me, moving through you. Oh. Child of this universe, through my breath all of life can breathe. I plant the seeds with my every dream. I can love at every turn. Give a kiss to Mother Earth. Yes, I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in each face. is on.